We have with us Grandmaster Shantipon Chandra with us. Congratulations, Shantipon, for winning IFLW International Grandmaster Open.
Thank you.
How did it feel to win the tournament?
It felt great. After the previous event in Sikkim, where I had a very disappointing finish, it's really welcome to have a good result and in fact to win the tournament. Actually, I got very lucky with the tie breaks. Basically, I think Deepan played against stronger opposition, like much higher rated opposition. But as it is, I very much welcome the result.
You received the prize from Anand, and he is someone whom you have been working for a very long time. So, how did it feel to receive a prize from him?
Yes, it was special. Of course, I knew that Anand would be coming at the closing. That's how it is every year. In fact, I think this is the first time I even shared the stage with Anand. And of course, the first time I'm receiving any kind of prize from him. And that adds to the special memory of the event.
Which game would you describe to be the best one from IFLW?
My game against Fahad Rahman from round 8, that was quite interesting. He is the biggest talent from Bangladesh at present, and he had a great tournament. How the game went right after the opening, it was very interesting. And I would say, in fact, in the position when I took knight into c7, this is perhaps one of the most amusing games I have ever played in my life. What happened is that first of all, I had a very good preparation, and this plan of knight g5 f4, this was prepared at home. And after he played knight d7, I started to think when I went for f5, because of course f5 looks like a very obvious move, but I had to be ready for bishop h6. And f5 is also a bit committal, because if the pawn is still on f4, I always have the plan of playing knight f3, knight e5 back, and I have some sort of grip in the position. So when I went for f5 for bishop h6, that's what he eventually played, I saw that I can go e4, and the point is, of course, I have a compensation now, whatever way he takes the pawn. And in fact, I have some dangerous initiative after d4, bishop c4, bishop g5, bishop g5, and so on. But the main point was after knight into e4. And it was not easy to calculate from the point when I am going for f5. But what I thought is that I can, if nothing else, I can just take knight into e4, d4, bishop into h6, ed3, and possibly queen d3. And I thought white can be slightly better, and it's also safe to play on. So something like queen h4, I can go bishop f4, and later I can just exchange the queens with queen g3, and knight is on b5, so there are knight c7 ideas still. But after f5, bishop h6, e4, knight e4, and then when I was trying to go further down these lines, I was not sure after knight c5, after queen d3, knight c5 instead of queen h4. And if I move queen to g3 or h3, there are some rook e2 ideas always. And this is something I was not sure about. On the other hand, also knight e4 was like a backup. Basically, when I'm going for f5 and e4, I'm hoping that there's more, because there's a lot of tempting possibilities with f into g6 and so on. But f into g6, of course, knight into d2 and g into f7, when I was calculating, I felt that king g7 is what he should do, because king h8 will later run into some knight f7 checks. And after king g7, f into e8, queen into e8, I could not make it work, and I was almost thinking that, okay, I just can't go for this variation. There was actually another idea, that is g into h7, king g7, h8, which was probably stronger according to computer, but I did not really see these lines, and I was basically thinking around g into f7. But then after g into f7, king g7, I suddenly spotted that knight into c7 is a move. And if you have a fresh look at this position, before knight into c7, it seemed that everything is hanging for both sides. And it is actually hard to imagine that there's any other move apart from f into e8. And somehow I just happened to spot this knight into c7. I can imagine any other day I would not have seen this. And after knight into c7, the position is so amusing. It's like everything possible is hanging, and it's like a complete puzzle. And also, if you happen to see a move like knight into c7 during a game, you don't see a refutation, it's very hard to do something else. It's really hard now to come back and say, no, I have had enough fun calculating the lines, I go back to knight e4, just try to play the safe position, whatever it is, it is. So I saw knight into c7, of course I missed some details here and there, but I was trying to calculate also during my opponent's time. And in fact, when I went for f into g6, this is when I decided that I am going for gf7 and knight into c7. And I thought, okay, whatever happens will happen, and let's see. And in the game, he actually blundered soon after when he went bishop g7. That made my task much easier. I was much concerned about queen c3, which is in fact the strongest move. And I was trying to find a way for white. This would be an interesting question if I would be actually able to during the game. But my opponent was down to about 5 minutes for, I don't know, about 15 moves to the time control. And he basically collapsed at that point. But objectively, white is probably winning or close to winning. There's some rook into h7, king j, rook h6. I basically checked with computer later. But we were trying to discuss a bit, my opponent and I, after the game, and it was not entirely clear. It felt that maybe white is winning, but yeah, this would have been the tough task. But this is how it was. But however the game was played till then, I'm very happy about it, because it was not an everyday game. It happens very rarely, such amazing complications, and honestly I do not know how it is possible for me to play any better than this, so that feels good.
In the last round against Nordibek Yakuboev, there was a situation where he could have played h cross g4 and your e6 bishop would have been hanging, so, and then it seemed like it was quite a difficult position for black, which he missed.
Actually, I think you are referring to the game, to some wrong relay of moves.
Okay.
Basically, what happened? It's a pity, because the finish of the game is also quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I should also mention that when I played queen f5, till then I think the relay is correct. I could have just played bishop into h3 and if rook g5, rook g7, and it's hard for me to explain why I did not go for that. I really do not understand it now, looking again. But I played queen f5, now it is not so easy, but probably black is still much better, but black has to be very precise. And what happened is that how the game went, like he went h4, I went g4, and now he went knight c2. And so basically the g4 pawn was never hanging. I never played g4 when pawn was on h3. This is what created the confusion. And after knight c2 I got c5. This is very interesting, because in most of the game his knight was very badly placed on e1. My pawn on e4 was blocking it, and finally when it went to c2 I again managed to play c5, again blocking the knight. And the main point was that after queen into c5 I go g3, rook into g3, now I go king h7, and the point of deflection is now seen, the inclusion of c5, queen into c5, because without c5, queen c5, white would always have queen d2, covering very important f2 square. But now black is just breaking through. So I hope I am clear with the position. Like so I went rook f8 and with queen d6, bishop e6, and now h4, g4, knight c2, c5. This is how the game went. And eventually, like he went back queen d2. I just started collecting pawns, queen e5, and I also got g3, and basically it was it was basically just over. So all in all, I would say it was an interesting game. It was complicated, but I was probably not really worse towards the end at any point, as far as I have looked at the game afterwards. And in fact, his king was very weak. But at the same time, in a tactical game, when I'm sacrificing a couple of pawns, things can easily go wrong for me as well if I miscalculate something somewhere.
Speaking about your opening preparation, we have often seen that in a Queen's Pawn opening you played d4, c4 or nc3 and then bd2. So this bd2 line, would you like to call it Shandhi Pawn's opening or something?
Well, in Nimzo Indian, this bishop d2. Well, it's true that I have played a lot of games, but first of all, this is an old move. You see 100 years back there are games. And this move for Nimzo, immediately bishop d2, this in recent times this used to be played by a German IM, Stern. I believe he was playing every time he faced Nimzo Indian. Now he is a grandmaster. So the thing is, as much as I understand, he is not a very active player. He plays in Bundesliga mostly, but he has got a very big contribution on bishop d2. Of course, interpretation changes, and these days a lot of strong players are playing it, and details keep changing. But yes, it's very interesting. Like I have played really a lot of games, but I cannot say that it's my variation or something. Just I found it very interesting, and when at the time when I started playing it, it was still very little explored.
Currently, Women's World Championship is going on, and Zhu Wenjun and Goryachkina, they seem to like one up each other. So when one player loses, the other one wins. Like yesterday, Goryachkina won and Zhu lost, and today just the opposite happened. So who do you think will win the Women's World Championship?
It's a hard question. I am also following the games. I can say that Goryachkina is a very interesting player, even more so because I think she is very, very focused. She's very young, and she's the impression I get from her interviews or reading about her, she is very, very focused. And personally, I really like to see such players who are entirely focused on chess. And she's very young, and definitely she has a very bright future ahead. And talking about Zhu Wenjin, she is also a very solid and experienced player, and let's see how things turn up. Perhaps Nurse will have the final word.
Talking about reading, Anand released his autobiography, Mind Master. Have you read that book yet?
No, I have not yet managed to read it, but some friends have told some things about the book, and I'm in fact looking forward to be reading it soon.
What's next for you?
I don't know at the moment. I'm still writing to organizers and trying to make some plans and decide maybe something in February or March, but let's see.
You made a fantastic start to 2020 by winning IIFLW, and we hope that we will continue your momentum and wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Shahid.